Hello Flosstube, welcome to Snickerdoodle Stitch. My name is Kathleen and this is a channel about cross stitch. So welcome everybody. I'm trying to think what I've been up to the last couple weeks. I ended up spending another week with my dad. It took him about 2 weeks to get completely back to normal. And can I just say, he is the worst patient. I know now why my mom always said she wanted to leave home whenever he was sick. You never heard such groaning in all your life. I told my friend, I said, it's a good thing women have babies, or I'd have been an only child as the oldest, because, yeah. Anyway, he is doing much better. Thank you to everybody again for your well wishes for him. So, yeah, I had that, and then I did work last Saturday, so I somehow managed to get a lot of stitching done. I have a fully finished item, I have a few finishes, and all of these are starts. Now, they're small, or smaller, but I think I've got 5 projects and all but 1 are done and 1 is completely finished. So let's dive right in. I'm going to show cross stitch. I have a few pieces of fabric that I bought from 123 Stitch. No, Fat Quarter Shop. I bought it from Fat Quarter Shop. They are genius with their cross stitch calculator because, and it's probably my fault because of how I have them bookmarked. I have them bookmarked on their flash sale, which is the 24-hour items that are for sale. And so anytime I go to use the cross stitch calculator, when I go to my bookmark, the sale items are what comes up. And so I'm always sucked in then to looking to see what else is on sale. So, yeah, brilliant of them to provide that calculator for us. If you haven't used it, it's a very simple calculator where you put in the stitch width and height, and it asks you what size borders you want, and it tells you what size to cut your fabric and what size your finished piece is. And it's much easier than using a calculator to do it like I did back in the day. My only complaint about it is I sometimes use odd counts, like I'll do 1 over 1 on 25, or I like to stitch on heart hanger, and it doesn't allow for those counts. So I think it has like 10, 14, 16 or 18 and 20 maybe, and then it's got the 28, 32, 36, 40, maybe 56, I can't remember, linen count. So it does only have a limited number of thread counts, but other than that, it is fantastic. And I usually will just use it and use the thread count that's closest, because I'm fine with an estimation. But anyway, diving right in, I showed this, I just bought this not too long ago, and I think I got it online. It's this Madame Chantilly, My Sweet Love, and I suspect that it is supposed to be for like a baby's room. But I like the bunny and wanted to do it for Easter. So that's what I did. And this is on 36 count raw natural linen. And I did do it 2 over 2. I used 2 threads because I did want the bunny to have really solid coverage. So I'll hold it back here so you can see the whole thing, and then I'll hold it up closer. I made 2 changes. The one change, I didn't stitch, the balloon should say I, and the next one love, and the blue one you, I love you. That didn't really work for me to use this for Easter. And the other change I did, this top balloon should have been light pink, but I did it green to match the shirt. And that was just to reduce kind of the baby room effect. But there it is up close. I love the bouquet of flowers. They were fun to stitch and just really cute with the tulips and then some little tiny buds in there. Pretty solid stitching. Like I think this pink, this up here was like 300 stitches. It's a lot of stitches, but goes pretty fast, obviously, because I got it done despite working and taking care of Dad. So really happy with this one. This frame, I'm looking to see if I can tell where I got it. I think it's from Michael's. It is a frame that's intended to hold 3 4x6 photos. This mat was in there. If I buy stock frames, I like to buy ones that have a mat because that tells me if I take the glass and the mat out, I generally have enough space then to accommodate foam core. And this is mounted on foam core. I do have some wool batting under here, just to get the stitches to puff out. I don't have glass in this since I'll probably only have this up for 6 weeks a year. At most. I'm not very good about getting my Easter stuff out. I did get mine out the 1st of March. But depending on when Easter falls, I generally still have my my snowmen and winter things out. And I'm still hoping for snow like mid-March. My birthday is mid-March, so I know we've had some really big snows on my birthday. It's not going to happen this year. It was 72 here today. So there's no way with this kind of weather. It is to drop into the 40s, I think I heard next week. But it's way too warm. We've got flowers and things getting leaves and buds that just shouldn't be happening for a couple more weeks. But it is what it is, right? So I did put my snowman away, and I did get my Easter out the 1st of March because I said if I didn't get it out then, it gets to a point where it's not worth the effort of getting it out. Not that I have a lot, but you know, it still is some stuff. It's a couple smaller boxes that I have to lug up from the basement, but yeah, so that's my FFO. And now, oh, I've got another FFO. I forgot. I did go ahead and finish this one. This is from Sweet Wing Studio, and it's called Spring Doxology. And I saw this stitched at, it was either StitchCon or Stitch New England. One of them had a Sweet Wing Studio trunk show, and I love this one stitched up. And what I really just wanted were the bunnies and the little birds and tulips. It says, "Praise God from whom all blessings flow," which is a really nice saying. But I really just wanted the little creatures at the bottom. And I did get this one finished. I did just finish this one as a flat fold because I know where I want to use it. And I should have done a better job on this corner with the fabric. I will confess to rushing a bit with this one. This is on a scrap of linen, and I think it's 32 count. I did use 2 threads. I'm pretty sure it's 32 count. It was a scrap. It's just cream, or, you know, it's just a stock linen. It's not anything over dyed, but I really like the little bunnies, and I know where I want to sit this, and it will just kind of prop up. So that's all this is fabric wrapped. And then I didn't put batting under here, but this is just wrapped around a piece of mat board, and this is wrapped around a piece of foam core. So really sweet little bunnies, super fast stitch. I had kitted up a bunch of these spring things in the hopes of getting them done, and then stitching at my dad's, the smaller items were easier for me to work on since I don't have my usual setup and everything in my lamp. But really happy with that one as well. Right, that can go in the trash now. This next one, this is a finish. It's not a full finish. And it is from Crocette Gogo, and it is called Amici per la Pasqua. Yeah, sorry, I don't, I can do French, I can't do Italian, which I think that's what that is. But I wanted to do, when I showed this before, because I bought this one not too long ago, this bunny and this really cute little hen sitting on the eggs with the little chick on its back. Let me hold it up closer and see if you can see. It's a really tiny photo on the pattern, so it's a bit difficult to see. even in person, and it's a little washed out. But I got the bunny done. So my plan is to work on the hen this week, and then I'll be finished with the 2 that I wanted to do out of that pattern. But this is the bunny. It is on 20 count. Vintage Country Mocha Ada. And it is, well, I'll hold it up close and then I'll hold it farther back because the colors are truer when I hold it farther back. I did it 1/1 because it's Ada, but I did just use 1 strand since this is 20 count. And I used this because I didn't want it to be any bigger than this. I mean, this is my hand, and I have long fingers, but I don't really have big hands. It's probably 3 by 4, maybe something about that size. And I didn't want it to be bigger than this. So that's why I pulled the 20 count. This maybe wouldn't have been my first choice in fabric, but I don't have a lot in Ada. And I don't have a lot in higher counts, but I wanted to take some Ada kitted up to go to my dad's because I don't have the best light there. He does have some task lighting, but you know, I'm used to using my magnifier light. Anyway, I wanted Ada. I wanted something that was easy to stitch on there. And this worked. So I made a couple changes. Some of the flowers were to be yellow, and I used a paler blue, and it was because the yellow wasn't showing up on this fabric. And after I finished, and I was looking at the back, I'm almost wishing I had used the back of the fabric, but it is what it is. So my plan is to finish this and the hen as a couple small pillows to sit in my milk glass bowls that I have. But really cute. I love his little face. He's just a cute bunny. The pattern does have some additional like framing, so there's some fancy stitching that makes this into a rectangle, but because I'm trying to keep it smaller, I opted not to do that. The hen has the same kind of framing, and I'm not going to put it on the hen either, but the hen is actually a little bigger than him. But really happy with that one. So that's one of my finishes. This next one is a finish, and this one is not Easter. It's not bunnies. Everything else I think today has bunnies on it. Yeah, everything has bunnies on it. I was in the Easter mood, so, and I'll probably finish up the hen, finish up the one that I started that I didn't finish that I'm going to show last, and then dive into some spring stitching. I have the Isabella's Garden, which is the lavender and lace of a little girl blowing bubbles with flowers, like she's kind of to look like she's standing in a field of flowers. And that one was close enough to finish last year that I was pretty sure if I cracked down on it, I could finish it this year. So those are my goals over the next few weeks. But this piece that is not a bunny is Home Tweet Home, and it's from Erin Elizabeth. And it was this pattern, and I just bought this at Salty Yarns a few weeks ago. So you saw this one recently. It is pinks and reds. So sort of Valentine's looking. That's my intent for it. I had a bit of drama with this one because I pulled this fabric, which is Graceful Gray, 14 count Ada. And you'll see I got the door. Again, I was looking for Adas and things that were easy to stitch on at my dad's. I got the door and the window done, and I didn't like the way it was looking. So it's been a long time. You can see that it's the door and the window that's up above that I did. It's been a long time since I stitched on 14 count Ada. A really long time, but I wasn't happy with it, and I had taken some other things down to Dad's to work on, possibly, or it was just in the bags. One was this Jack from Folk Art Designs, which is this snowman. I have it all. I had bought the floss when I was down at in Stitches in Alexandria, and I had pulled this Parisian gray to stitch him on. So you'll see it really matches the, it's not what they use, but it's a close match, and the flosses look really good on it. I tried some other colors, and that gray really is one of the best choices. So I had this Parisian gray with me. So when I wasn't happy with the way the Ada was coming out, I was digging through my other projects and what fabric did I have, and I had this Parisian gray in there. So I went ahead and stitched it on that, and it is 30 count. And I don't know who makes it. I'm going to guess that it's Weichelt or Witchelt, since it's 30 count, and that's one of their common counts, but don't quote me on that. But I got it finished. It was a very fast stitch. Generally, I'm not a huge fan of stitching houses. They're really heavy. I mean, it's a lot of stitching to stitch a house. It's solid. But this is small, and it went really fast, and I'm really happy with that on the 30 count. Parisian gray. If I get back here, yeah, that's truer colors back here. But it's just a sweet little house, and I haven't decided how I'm gonna finish this one yet, so I may not rush to finish it. Sorry the colors are off. I'm just holding up close so anybody watching on their phone or anything is able to see it. But I haven't decided whether I want to make it into a little pillow, whether I want to use like a round tin, or I'll sometimes buy pillar candle holders because they're recessed and work really well for round pieces. Or if I want to do a flat finish. Kathy Haberman from Hands On Design, she actually has a YouTube video on how to do, she calls it a pin cushion. They're not very fat, so you wouldn't want to use it as probably a true pin cushion because you'd always be poking clear through to the bottom. But to display some cute pins or something, they would be perfect. And she has a really good video tutorial. It's her, a friend, I think, and a younger lady who works for her in the summers, like a school-aged person. And she is talking them through, they're all three filling their round pin cushions. So she's got a really good tutorial, and I may do it that way. So I haven't decided how I'm going to FFO this one. I finished this one. This was actually the first thing I finished in the last 2 weeks, even before the bunny that I framed, but I didn't do the full finishing on this one because I haven't entirely decided what I want to do. But that's that one. And the last piece that I stitched on is from Jardin Prive, and it's Carrot Market. And I also just bought this one when I was at Salty Yarns a few weeks ago. The full pattern is in the top picture, and the lower picture is just a close-up of the little bunny family with their cart with the carrot in it. And when I looked at this one, I thought this is going to be a pretty quick stitch. It's probably similar to one of the rows on the Primrose Cottage Stitches, Welcome to the North Pole, that had the 6 kind of seams in it. This is comparable probably to one of those seams. So I knew about how long this was going to take to stitch. It's going to be a bigger piece, but because it's not terribly stitch heavy, it will go pretty fast. And so I started stitching it, and I made really good progress. The bottom is all the way across, so you can see what I have left is the carrot sign. There's a small wagon here, and there's a couple daffodils. And this is on a scrap of Fabrics by Stephanie Nantucket Sky, Lugana in 28 count. And I'm doing it 2/2. This is fabric that is cut off from the, it's one I'm doing that has red poppies on it, and there will be a little girl with a butterfly net catching stars in it. It's some of my summer stitching. It may come out to go to my first retreat, which will be next weekend. But really good progress on this. This is the one that I want to finish this week. It's a tight fit on this scrap, but the scrap was so perfect. And when I am doing these smaller things, I like to dig into scraps instead of cutting into my full pieces. And this one just lent itself well to this little carrot scene. I started it really close to the bottom. It's enough because this won't fray because it is the selvage. But my original plan was to do it as a flat fold of some sort. Then I was putting away, I was straightening up some stuff in the basement and found a bag of thrift store shopping that I had never like sorted out and put where it belongs. And I came across a frame in there, which is exactly the right size, sort of. I'll explain when I get it up here. This is the frame. It's upside down, but I mean, that's just the frame pictures. It was a $10 frame in Home Goods, but the thrift store had it for $3, and I think I bought it when blue stickers were half off, so I paid $1.50. And it is almost exactly the right size. My fabric might be a little bit too short this way. So I'll wait until this is finished, and then I may go on with my flat fold, but I'm probably going to see if I can make this frame work, because it's kind of hard to see this way with this on the foam core. But the frame is exactly the width. It's like an inch wider than that green grass checker border at the bottom. So it just seems serendipitous that I was putting away frames and came across that one and went, I wonder if that would work for my little carrot market. And it looks like it would, maybe. But I'll hold it up close one more time. Let me see if I can get it all in frame without looking. The little bunnies go super fast. Actually, all of it. The thing that was the most boring and that seemed to take the longest was this checkered border. And I wanted to get it in to begin with so that I was sure I had enough room on both ends, because I knew I was cutting it close on the size on this fabric that I didn't have a lot of wiggle room. And I purposefully put it lower because I wanted some sky up above, but that's my carrot market. So that one should be finished next week, or next video, 2 weeks from now. I mentioned the fabric that I got at Fat Quarter Shop. They had their Fabric Flare fabric on sale, and Fabric Flare has some like snowy looking prints that I have been wanting. I actually bought a snowman pattern Stitching Post. I bought a snowman pattern at Stitching Post, and they had it stitched on fabric that had little snowflakes, but they never have that fabric. So I like to support the shop where I see the model. But if they never have the fabric, and I've looked multiple times, no, I'm usually there after Christmas, and so I have a feeling it's just sold out by then. But it was on sale at Fat Quarter Shop. They had all their Fabric Flare fabric on sale, and so I did buy a few pieces. They're all different. This one is 28 count even weave, and it is called Snow on Aqua. So it's just this kind of tealy color, light tealy with these little random white spots. Something with snowmen will be gorgeous on here. You would have to use bright white, I think, to make sure the snowmen show up. But so I bought that one. This one is True Snowflakes, and this one is also on 28 count even weave. This is a much brighter blue. with more modeling, so less subtle, and the snowflakes are obviously a lot stronger, and they're true snowflakes, not just the random white spots in the background. But again, really nice for winter stitching. And then this one is Ada. This one is 14 count Ada, and the color on this one is Gray Fairy Dust. And it's this gray with these stars and swirls, and fairy dust is a good description. But yeah, I like the Fabric Flare. The Fabric Flare Even Weave is very nice to stitch on. They're the ones that printed the big pumpkin that the Gobbletons, the Quaker turkey things that I stitched. That's a Fabric Flare 28 count printed even weave, and it's really nice to stitch on. Really simple. If you normally are an Ada stitcher and you're wanting to dip your toes into even weave or linen, the Fabric Flare is really nice. I think it's probably a Jobelin. It kind of stitches like that, although they don't call it Jobelin. The only other thing I have, this is a silly one. So this is old and it's kind of yellowed. I may disassemble it and try, oh no, it looks like it's hot glued in maybe. Yeah, it is. I did this in the 80s and I would love to get this ruffle off here. I may try doing with this one what I did with the winter one. So this was a clock. My grandmother bought this kit, probably from Hirschner's, because she was a Hirschner shopper for crocheting things or mostly yarn kind of projects. But she wanted this clock for her bathroom and she bought the kit and asked me if I could do the cross stitch. And so I did the cross stitch and the assembly and everything. And the hands are not on here. I don't know where the hands are. When I was down at Dad's and I was in the bathroom, when my grandmother sold her house and went to live in an apartment many years ago, my mom brought this home. So she knew I had made it. And my mom brought it home and it had been in my mom and dad's main bathroom. So the one that, you know, guests would use or that I use when I'm there was our only bathroom when I was a kid. And so I'm in the bathroom and I looked and I'm like, where is the clock? What is this goofy thing hanging up there? It was some lace sachet, again, made in like the 80s. So it has no scent. And I was like, Dad, where is the clock from the bathroom? He had no idea. But then later in the week, this must not have been when I was home there when he was sick. Must have been after that, because he wasn't going to the basement at all when he was sick. It must have been before that. I mean, he appeared and he's like, I got to thinking about it and I thought I knew where that clock was. So he had dug it out. He did remember where it was, and he said he thought the clockwork had stopped working, which these clockworks like this are prone to doing. But it is neat stitching. And it is my bathroom colors, but I have another piece in the works for a clock. But I may see if I can rip this ruffle off and do something different with this and put a new clockwork in it and hang it back in the bathroom at Dad's house. But yeah, no idea who made this. There's no name or anything on it. It looks like I've got it. It looks like it came with like particle board for the backing, but I have it all hot glued in there. Yeah. So it's probably early 90s. It's a little dusty too. That's the other downside to these ruffles, is that there isn't really a way to clean them. But so I thought I would show everybody that for a good laugh. Oh, that was hiding. When I bought the Fabric Flare fabric, this was one of the flash sales, and it was like 89 cents for this, or 99 cents for this heart and hand berry pattern. So I picked it up from Fat Quarter Shop when I was buying the Fabric Flare fabric. You know, I wouldn't pay 99 cents for this, and then $5 shipping would be kind of stupid. But since I had the fabric and stuff anyway, I picked up these little berries, berry and bloom, which would be really cute for a smalls exchange. So that's that pattern from Heart and Hand. It's called Imprints, Berries and Blooms. So that is everything cross stitch related that I have to show this week. I am going to show some quilts now. I kept meaning to show pan out from the quilt behind me and show that one. And then I have a few other seasonal quilted projects in other parts of the house. So I thought I would go ahead and show those before I take them down and put up some summer or year-round things. That'll be in a month or so. But so I'm going to sign off now and switch and splice the video here, because I am going to be moving from room to room, but I'm going to stop the video while I'm doing my traveling, just so I don't make anybody seasick as I'm walking around. So it may be a little jumpy here in the segments, but I'll try to do my best with editing so that that's not the case. Everybody have a fantastic week. Next weekend, I am at Needlework by Jim. I think that's the name they're using these days. It has Needlework Extravaganza in Northern New Jersey. So I'm going to that, and my friend Lana, who's a Silly Notion Stitcher, is coming as well. I have not talked to anybody else who I know is going. I asked a couple people who I know actually live in Northern Jersey, but it seems they are not going, but hopefully I'll get to see them at the Stitch New Jersey retreat later in July. But so this is my first retreat of the year, and I already have my projects picked out. They are things that are require a little less thinking and a lot more stitching. So some solid stitching kind of things that are lower thread count, fewer stitches per inch, let me put it that way, bigger stitches, so that I can see in lighting that I'm not sure what the lighting will be like. I'll take my travel lamp, but so yeah, that is next week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I'll have 3 full days of stitching next week. So I should make some good progress on whatever projects I take. I think the only vendor there will be Needlework by Jim, but I can do some damage there. They have some beautiful fabrics and things. And the market stuff has started coming in. I'm expecting a shipment from Garon. It may arrive today or tomorrow. I did order 4 or 5 patterns from them. There were only like 5 or 6 patterns that I really, really wanted from the market stuff this year. So those should be arriving. So I'll have those to show. Yeah, so that's my plans. So I'm going to end my cross stitch talk now and switch to showing you some quilts, starting with the one that's behind me. All right, have a great week. We'll talk soon. Okay, I've been meaning to show some more of this cat quilt that's been hanging behind me before I swap it out. I'm about to put the villages back up, I think. This is a Tesselata cat pattern. It's called Cool Cats, and it's from Peggy Martin Designs on Etsy. So it's a download pattern. It's very, very simple. There isn't any like weird triangle points you have to match up on it. It's a very easy pattern. The block is actually this. So the only tip that I have is some sort of design wall definitely helps so that you can get your tails lined up, matched back up with the right cat. Because of the way these all interlock, I spread it all out on the design wall and then assembled it. And this piano keyboard border took as long to do as the darn quilt, or longer. I don't know if I would do a piano keyboard again. And I did do a flanged binding on this, and this quilt was inspired by this fabric. So this is the only quilt I have where I paid full price for the backing, and I fell in love with this fabric. It's fairy tale books, and it's these really bright jewel tones, and I had to have the fabric. And so right before COVID hit, it had started, but we weren't in like lockdown mode yet. But my sister-in-law works in Philly and has friends that work at the hospital there, and they said everything's going to shut down any day. And so I rushed around and bought these grunge fabrics to match the backing. So it's all out of Tim Holtz Grunge, which is a line that's carried by Moda. And it's a standard. It's not like a one and done. There's always grunge fabric available. So yeah, that's the Cool Cats quilt. Okay, moving on to a different quilt. This quilt hangs above the cabinet where I've shown other quilts, my Lori Holt canning jars and my Christmas trees. This is my heart quilt. This was not a pattern. I just did this on graph paper. It's all 3.5-inch squares. Every square on here is different. I have a lot of low volume fabrics, and yeah, it's very simple because it's just squares sewn together. And like I said, it's not a pattern, although I think Robert Kaufman has a heart quilt that is just squares. And I may have looked at it just to kind of get an idea for what I wanted for the number of squares in the heart itself. But so I started out with 5-inch squares of fabric that I cut. And then I realized I wanted the quilt to hang here. And after I graphed it out, it was going to be way too big. So I cut them down to 3.5 inches so that each square on here finishes out at 3 inches. But it left me with these little 1.5-inch strips of fabric that I cut off of the 5-inch squares. And so I cut 1.5-inch squares and I made a matching pillow. So each of the squares on the pillow are 1 inch. As you're seeing it now, they finished at 1 inch. And it is the same exact fabrics. No fabric on here is duplicated. And the back for this, let me zoom back out a little bit. The back for both of these is this really cute button card fabric, which I got on like a clearance table for $3 a yard or something crazy like that. And I've been kicking myself for not buying more of it, but I fell in love with this fabric. I think I didn't buy more because I wasn't sure what I was going to do with all that hot pink, but it really works for the Valentine's stuff. So now I'm going to show a couple Easter pillows and then we'll be done with the quilting stuff. Okay, these don't normally sit side by side here like this, but I set them here this way to show you. Shoot, I can't reach. These bunny patterns are from Ellis and Higgs. And they are also on Etsy. They've got a lot of really cute animal patterns, but I bought the bunnies to make some Easter pillows. These have the, sorry if I'm making you dizzy, these have the zipper on the bottom. And I just swapped out the snowmen a few weeks ago and put the bunnies on here. And these are just quilted with wavy line stitching, which my Janome or Elna machine has. Just some wavy lines there, and the backs on these, this is really cute bunnies and teacups. This might have been full price fabric now that I showed the other quilt and said I didn't normally use full price for backs, but for a pillow back, people will pick it up and can potentially see it. The quilt backs, especially if I know I'm going to hang it, nobody's ever going to see the back, and so I hate to pay full price for fabric, but the colors that I chose for the bunnies themselves were inspired by the backing on this. I had picked the backing first. But the Ellis and Higgs bunny patterns, they're really simple. It is a lot of smaller pieces. You know, like this is a little piece. This is actually 3 pieces. So it's not super fast, but to do a couple like this for pillows, you know, definitely not like a huge amount of time, but those are my Easter pillows. And when these get put away, I have a big stitch quilted daisy that will come out. So I'll show that. I've got to look back and see if I showed that before. But that's all the Easter stuff that I have. I don't really have a lot of quilting things for Easter or Valentine's or any of the summer holidays. I really just have the fall and Christmas and winter. So that's the quilting for this week. Everybody have a fantastic week. Bye.